Beautiful people, welcome back to another episode of Who Can Relate. I'm your host, Justin Davis, aka JD, and if you are new here, this is for you. This show is all about people discovering their higher selves through adversity, vulnerability, with a big underline under that word, and self-love. If you are not new here and you've been rocking, you're a part of the community, you know what it is. I say thank you, thank you, thank you. I see you, I hear you, and I gratefully appreciate you. Okay, so today's episode is going to be a little different. Actually, very different now that I think about it, because I'm going to give each and every one of you watching and listening right now direct access to something that has never been done before. No one has ever had access to in my life, which is a journal entry. I'm going to read a journal entry that I wrote down late last night as I was reflecting on a lot. And I really think I cracked the code to something that I so desperately need, and I've been so desperately wanting to figure out for the longest time. So before we get into that, we're going to go over the quote of the day and set some intentions for the episode per usual. Let's start with the intentions. So my intentions for today is to be able to try to give someone who can relate to what we're going to be talking about a sense of peace of mind, a sense of just slight clarity, and maybe a little bit of a understanding as to, obviously, you know the drill, you're not alone. That's one of my biggest things here for the show. But also being able to articulate hopefully how you feel, at least try to. Quote of the day: don't move in chaos. This is something my yoga instructor preaches all the time whenever we're in between sequences and it's 120 degrees and we're struggling and we're just trying to get it over with. He very simply states, and as a reminder, and says, don't move in chaos. And when I was thinking about this today, it really resonated with me because I was wondering how many other things I do in chaos. How many decisions am I making in chaos? How am I speaking? Is it in chaos? Or rather, how am I speaking to someone? Is it in chaos? And so I just wanted to give you guys that. I think it's really important that we try to respond instead of react. I think it's important that we try to process as much as we can. I know it's really hard to do, but just try to really understand, the next thing you could say or the next thing you could do could really be detrimental and have some serious consequences. So again, today's quote of the day is, don't move in chaos. Okay, let's get into this episode. Again, this is something that's never been done before. If a lot of people are sitting here thinking, JD, look, thank you, we appreciate it, but you don't have to. I know I don't have to, and I appreciate you for your concern. However, I just really felt the need to create this content, episode, video, podcast, audio, whatever you want to call it. I just really felt pulled to create this, and I really hope it helps out a lot of people. And by the way, I'm working through this as we speak. This all was influenced because I was watching Oprah's, I don't know what it is, but she's got an Apple TV right now, but she has a bunch of celebrities on. They have these great conversations, and she had Will Smith on. This is back, I think, early November 2021, right before his book came out, and they went over a lot of his book and his personal life. Obviously, this is pre-slap, and this is pre-whatever's going on right now, unfortunately, in Will Smith's life. And so much of, obviously, what he said in the book resonated with me. I've talked about that book often lately. It's one of the best books I've ever read. And I really resonated with what he was saying in this interview with Oprah. He was explaining the direction that I think the publisher, if I'm not mistaken, Mark Manson is the guy I'm referring to. So I'm not really sure if he's the publisher or what. But anyways, when Will Smith was, I've never written a book before. I don't really know, what to do or what to say, etc. And Mark Manson was like, don't worry. He said, it's basically going to be this arc of your life. And it's going to be like the start to where you are now. It's going to be this fear to love. And when he said that, I was like, wait a minute. that's what I'm doing right now. I'm on this arc of life, and on one side and at the end of the bottom is fear, and on the other side, the other end and the other part of this arc is love. And I'm like right in the middle. So it just I can't even tell you how much it resonated with me. I just like I paused it. I'm really trying to think about this, and I'm like, from like how did I get here? Right? Number one, what has it been like in the fear realm, which is what I've been so accustomed to and so used to. And a lot of the love side of the arc is something that's completely foreign to me. It's unknown. I'm just like, I got to figure this out because this is the first time I've ever heard someone like explain how I really feel. And so I'm gonna get into the journal entry. I gotta put my glasses on. Don't be easy on the comments. It's late. My eyes go worse at night. LASIK surgery is hopefully in the plan soon one day. But okay. And by the way, I'm realizing like I'm pretty nervous right now. Again, this is something that's very personal, and I know I'm taking a huge risk here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So in and out, in and out. Okay. All right, here we go. So I've been on this journey of this arc. On one end, it's fear, and on the other end, it's love. This arc has involved plenty of relationships in my life. My relationship with my wife, my relationship with my daughter, family, and friends. And I'll break down how each has been impacted and affected as I go along. So to give you an example and just to paint a picture here of what's in my head, I feel like I'm at the top of this arc, like right in the middle. And on one side, again, is fear, and then the other side is love. And I'm at this top. And for majority of my life, I've only been on the fear side of the arc. And so now, where I'm at in my life and now who I have in my life, now I know it's time to transition into the love side of this arc. But I have no idea how to do that. Like, absolutely zero clue. I know a lot of people maybe can't relate to that because of your upbringing and because maybe you were blessed to have had love in your life and plenty of examples of what love is and what it feels like. And I don't. So you have to understand that I'm trying to do something that not only I've never done before and I've never experienced before, but I'm going in it like blindly, like I'm jumping without knowing that there's a net, if that kind of makes sense. And as I continue in the journal entry, I say, it's scary as hell. I find myself subconsciously wanting to slide right back down to the fear side because it's all I've ever known. It's safe and it's comforting in a very strange way. But then every now and then I've had glimpses and brief spurts and very few examples of the love side of things. And it feels so good when I felt those things. It's like medicine to an ache or a sore, like the only antidote or solution to the problem. It's like this voice inside of me for years now that says, it's okay. Trust me. This will help you. This is what you need. It'll be worth it. You deserve this. You're worthy of this. And even when I've experienced these thoughts, I've had these brief moments of like, yeah, but I've only known fear, and I know that they say love is this, but I'm good over here. I'm comfortable here, but I'm like, I'm not good over here. I'm not comfortable here because everything I want is on the other side of this arc. How do I get there? It's not as easy as just going up and back down. It doesn't work like that. I'm scared. What if I get hurt? What if I get abandoned? What if? And so I'll paint this other picture of, imagine now that we're at a crossroad. And there's a road to the right, and there's a road to the left. And to the right is love. And so I'm at this crossroad, and I think to myself, well, if I go right, which is love, and it's also foreign and potentially going to hurt me. But when I peek down this right side of the crossroad, which is love, I have these visuals. And one visual is Shay. And I can see her. I'm at our wedding. I'm at the altar. I'm waiting for her to come down. And I can see her. And I can see her in her dress. And we lock eyes, and I can see her looking at me, and I can just feel that, and I see that. And then I see my little girl. I see her at a very young age, and she's happy with me, and she loves me unconditionally, and she's holding on to every word that I have to say, and she just can't get enough of me. It's different now, by the way. She's full-on teenager. And then I see my future kids down this right side of the crossroad. And I see them run up to me at the airport and jump into my arms. I just landed from a flight. And I see them running up to me, jumping in my arms when I pick them up from school. And I get this overwhelming sense of love, which is, again, so foreign to me. And so you would think by seeing this, right, I have this visual. It's like, okay, cool. If I go here, it's like this is it, right? So why the hell can't I just go right? Why can't I choose love at this crossroad? Well, the reason why I continue to go left is because it's everything that I've known. And although every single part of me is like, this is not the right direction. Like who I am now in my life at 35 years old, doing the work, everything in me is like, we got to stop going left. Let's go right. But then I'm reminded, well, at least we know how to navigate through this side. This is where the fight leads the way. Whereas on the right side of the crossroad is the flight. This is what I've always known. What and who have I always needed to be. Because when I'm not, that's when I worry about people letting me down, leaving me, or mistreating me. But at least on this left side, I have the tools to cope and handle it. It's safe here. Or so that's what I've been telling myself with the false sense of security. I know I can count on myself no matter what here. I've been here before. I'm used to this path. I'm used to the fight. I thrive in fight. I am fight. I built this, and no one else, which means no one can take this away from me. And so I feel like I've been stuck at this crossroad of this intersection between love and fear for the last few years now. And I feel like my whole life has led me to this moment. And ironically, the left side of fear, which is very comfortable. I'm very familiar with that. You and I go way back on this left side. I already know you. You already know me. Ironically, I'm so afraid that if I continue to go out on this left side, I'm going to lose what I worked so hard to build. I'm going to lose some of the ones that I love with every ounce of my heart if I don't start to go right. So how this also translates in my head is who I've needed to be in my life in times of survival and fight, taking care of myself and raising myself from a young age, protecting myself, was absolutely necessary in my life back then, mainly my younger years. And I'm so proud and I'm thankful that I was able to use those tools when the time was necessary. However, I'm not that little boy anymore. I'm not that teenage kid. I'm not that younger man anymore. What was necessary then is no longer necessary now. What was requested back then is no longer being requested now. And who I needed to be back then is not who I need to be now. And so I've been realizing I have to like really accept that though, right? Because one thing to say it, right? It's one thing to be like, okay, cool. Like, little Justin, thanks for coming out, man. You held it down this whole time. We'll take it from here. But little Justin, who's very present still to this day, is like, who the hell's we? And I don't know who you are. How do I know I can trust you? How do I know that you got it from here? What does that even look like? What does that even mean? This is the lack of surrender, right? This is the control really trying to take over here. I went over this heavily in my ayahuasca episode, and it's something I'm really trying to work on. And so I really have to start accepting this. I have to start accepting that I don't always have to be in control. The people in my life now are not the ones who were back then. Who I am now is totally different from who I was back then. The woman that I have in my life now, I've never, ever in my wildest dreams thought that I could have her and deserved her, more importantly. And she's here to help. Like, on top of all that, she's like willing and able to help. Like, put me in, coach. I'm just like, no, it's good. We're I know we're down by 87, but just hang on. I'll call your name in a minute, right? So a part of, as much as I need to accept the fact that I need to start leading with love, I need to thank that older version of myself. And I need to just part ways. I need to show it love for what it gave me. I need to thank it for getting me through all that it did. But if I'm going to receive what I so desperately want to receive, I have to unlearn. I have to learn new things. And I have to try things I've never tried before. But all of this has to be done by leading with love. Because I have plenty of reminders from all my years of leading with fear, and we know how that turned out. It was serving to who I was back then, but it is not serving to who I'm becoming now and who I want to become. It was a block between myself and ones who tried to love me, and it will all but guarantee that I won't receive what I so badly want, which is love. The other thing that I took away from the Will Smith and Oprah interview was, and I remember when Will had this in his book, it's a direct quote from him, and he says, "Living is the journey. From not knowing to knowing, from not understanding to understanding, from confusion to clarity. And by universal design, you are born into a perplexing situation, bewildered, and you have one job as a human. Figure this shit out." You have one job to figure this thing called life out, right? And not knowing is a major part of that. It's about learning. And you have to get comfortable with not knowing. Let me say that again. I have to start getting comfortable with not knowing, with the unknown, with what is foreign, what I'm not used to, what I'm not accustomed to, what's on the other side of fear. I got to get comfortable with it. Because there's nothing wrong with you just because you don't know what to do. And that has been something that I've been trying to work through now for the better part of the last 6 months of my life, is not being so hard on myself for not knowing what to do, for not having all the answers, to delegate, to ask for help. I give this quote to a lot of my consultation clients that I speak with, and I've said it on multiple episodes, which is, just because you have to ask for help, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you're not alone. I need to start taking my own advice because, again, as I mentioned earlier, I have the greatest woman that has ever come into my life willing and able to help. And I struggle delegating. I struggle asking. I fear what it makes me look like. I fear that it not makes me weak, but makes me inadequate. It makes me like, am I not enough for her? Because the struggle with this particular part is like, okay, it's a little bit like imposter syndrome, right? Like there are days where I ask myself, I need to tell Shay this more often, by the way, but I ask myself, like, how the hell did I get so lucky with Shay? Whether I look at her and I see every bit of the beauty that she is, or I talk to her and I see every bit of the same beauty but inside her. And I'm like, how did I get so lucky? Like, joke's over, pull the curtain. Like I'm the husband. And so then I create this like, okay, well then I gotta tighten everything up. I gotta come correct all the time. I have to have all the answers all the time. I have to. Because if I don't, what if? And it's like this fear again, right? I'm leading with this fear. So that's what I mean. Like leading with fear shows up in multiple ways. And I'm just giving you one example. I'm reminded by the angelic nature of Shay that, she also chose me. As much as I chose her, she also chose me. And I am worthy and I am deserving of her, even when I don't maybe have all the answers, even when I am in the unknown, even when I am extremely vulnerable or unprepared. I am enough and I am worthy of her and I am worthy of her love, more importantly. So when it comes to my daughter, we'll go here now. It's a completely different fear because there's a sense of like, well, I'm her father, right? So it's a sense of like automatically deserved love and respect. I don't want to say entitled. I was going to use that word, but that's how I describe it. An automatic deserving of love and respect from my daughter because I'm her father. And for a long time now, it hasn't been automatic. It's been a struggle, if I'm being completely honest. I joke about these teenage years, but it's so different right now with Adriana. It's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm losing her. And it sucks because I already lost so much time with her. Like even when I was living in Chicago, I only had her, 6-7 days a month. So it's not just so much about the move to LA, although obviously that didn't help in this department. But I feel like I'm losing her, and I literally can't afford to lose any more time with her. So any second feels like a whole hour, and it's really challenging. I'm sad about it, completely heartbroken. And above all, like I don't know how to talk to her about this. We had a very serious heart to heart when she was out here for her spring break. So end of March, early April. And it was a really difficult conversation for both of us. Very challenging, and it tested every bit of like the work that I'm doing. It tested every bit of it. I failed most of the time. I was defensive most of the time. I was being accused of a lot of things, and I just, I've been waiting to give my daughter my side of the story for 14 years. And I was being accused of things, and I'm like, great, no worries. I can explain. Now's the time that I can finally, I've been waiting 14 years, like, no worries. And instead, I should have just listened to understand. I should just listen to validate her feelings instead of listening to reply. And so I say all this because leading with fear with my daughter is the scariest of them all. You know, our children are, in my opinion, our children are the ones who can hurt us the most. And I'm not used to being this hurt for this long. This is not like a, by any means, obviously talking bad about my daughter. It's just, venting this out a little bit. But it is fearful to jump to the love side of it because I'm afraid she's going to hurt me. And what sucks about that is my mom and dad did the same thing with me. And you all know one of my favorite quotes is, you repeat what you don't repair. So your boy is trying to repair this. I'm trying not to repeat this. But again, it's like, well, it should be easy. Just go from fear to love. It's not. And I've actually had a lot of empathy from my mom and dad lately because I get it now. I understand. They were probably so scared of me hurting them. So I've just really been trying to lead with love with my daughter, which I do most of the time. But I revert back to the fear when things aren't always going well. And I'm really trying to iron that out. I could go on and on about what's going on between my daughter and I, but I really don't want to share everything with you all. And I also don't want to talk about this without her. So maybe when she comes out for the summer, we can sit down and do an episode. But for now, that's, a lot of what's happening there. All right, so let me get back into the arc analogy again. And this is, the main reason why I wanted to create this episode was to see how many of you can relate to this. Because again, this is very new for me, and I'm realizing the reason why it resonated with me so much last night in watching Will Smith and Oprah speak is because, if life is all about figuring it out, right? Life is all about, let me go back to the quote, living is the journey. I feel like where I am in the journey today is I am in the very middle of it all. And a part of me is like, well, great. Like, look where we've come, right? Like, wow, I've come such a long way. Like if thank God I didn't have a podcast any earlier than when I created this, because I would have 0 followers, 0 subscribers. I was I was not in the place that I'm at now. Let's just say that. And so, and then the other part of me is like, look how much of a blank canvas we still have in front of us that we can so beautifully paint with however the hell we want to paint it. But right now, the middle sucks. And it's so hard and it's so scary. And this is not a man up moment. We'll call it that. It's not like, come on, man. Everyone goes through shit in life, man up, or just deal with it. Life is hard. It's not about that. Like, so if anyone's thinking that, please don't. It's deeper than that. I work really hard on trying to become the potential I know I have. Trying to live up to that. And taking it day by day and reflecting on who I was versus where I am and now where I'm going and all of that, and therapy and podcasts and all the above. And the middle right now is this is like the most confusing time of my life, because it's like I have everything that I've really truly manifested, but I'm not fully happy. So it's like, what would it take for me to be fully happy? And I don't know. I mean, if you're waiting for the answer, I have no, I have an idea, but it starts with changing how I lead. And again, instead of leading with fear, I have to start leading with love. So again, I don't know how many of you can relate to this. If I just went on a complete rant and this was only meant for me, I apologize. But something tells me there's plenty of you out there who understand what I'm saying. So before I continue just to ramble, I'm going to try to get back to some structure here and we can end with this. For the ones who are kind of stuck on my crossroad picture that I painted of if I go right, it's love, if I go left, it's fear, and down the right side is Shay, is my daughter, it's my future kids, it's what I've always dreamed of and fantasized of. I wish I could tell you that it's easy just to go right. I like, you have to understand, it's the best way to describe it is like this constant pull. It's like this tug of war of I want to go love, but fear is all I've ever known. I really want to trust love, but when I did, look what happened. I really want to just fully leap into something I've never done before, but this is all I've ever known. And I constantly go back and forth. Like, this really came up in my ayahuasca ceremony. Actually, now that's all coming to me. I just made sense of a lot of stuff. And I get it. I listen, I'm glad I'm aware of it. Let me just say that as well. Because for the longest time in my life, I felt these things, couldn't articulate them, but I felt them. But I wasn't truly aware like I am now. And I have to say, I'm beyond grateful of the awareness, the self-awareness. Now I'm getting to the acceptance part, and then it's the application part. And God, I'm so blessed to not have to do this alone. And I have Shay, and I have an incredible support group. And I feel like I don't have a choice. What I mean by that is, like, again, if I want what I want, if I want to receive what I've always dreamed about, I don't have a choice. This is the only way, is love. Because the fear stuff, I can't do it anymore. Like, I can't do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't really have the energy to do it anymore. I don't have the determination to do it anymore. And I've seen the results of when I've done it, what the consequences are, because they're every bit of that. They are consequences. So again, I hear you. It's like, JD, just go right, man. I get it. I understand. I wish it could be that simple, but it's not. And right now I'm at the top of this arc, and I'm like leaning down fear, but I'm like really focused on love. And I just wanted to give you an update as to where I was on this arc. I wanted to share this journal entry with you because one of my favorite comments is like, wow, I'm not alone. Or, man, you said it so beautifully. That's exactly how I feel. I just couldn't really say it like that. So hopefully I get some of those comments and reviews and feedback from this one. I also really appreciated everyone from my ayahuasca episode. All the beautiful feedback of, thank you for your transparency. Thank you for your vulnerability. So this was just duplicating that. I go through it like all of you. So I just wanted to be clear on that. So anyways, that's it. I apologize for rambling. I didn't really know how this was going to go. I wanted to get that journal entry out. And when I did, I kind of was stuck. But I will say it feels good to finally be able to put my finger on this, and now it's time to really start to apply all that I've become newly aware of. So Let me also just take some time right now to express full gratitude for the community. You know, I read every single comment, every single DM. I respond to both, and I'm blown away. I'm really blown away from the beginning to now. We are growing so fast. And again, I just really appreciate you all. I appreciate you all for accepting me, for accepting my stories, for accepting my guests, my content, my topics, my wife, my family, and again, mainly just me. You guys always say, as I mentioned, one of my favorite comments is, I feel like I'm not alone, and I feel like I'm not alone. Maybe that's why it resonates with me so much. So thank you. From now until next week, have an amazing rest of the week, and see you guys next time.